Hi, I'm Jessica Reid. I'm about to get ordained this Petertide in the Diocese of Chichester. I'm originally from London and from Southwark Diocese, but before going forward for ordination, I was in Oxford at St Mary Magdalene's, Oxford. I'm going to go and be a deacon in St Nick's Church in Brighton, which is one of the oldest churches in Brighton. It might be the oldest church, so sorry if I've offended anyone. It's in the very middle of the city, it's really near the station, so it's got a really lively community around it. Lots of different types of people know it and use it for all kinds of things like school meetings and assemblies. There's lots of music concerts there as well. My call to the priesthood really goes back to my baptism. When I was a child, my parents didn't believe in God, and so I didn't go to church at all. But at secondary school, I spent a lot of time with the Christian Union and with some friends who were Christians, and they really encouraged me to wonder about who created the world and what we were like as people in it. When I was 17, I got baptised and confirmed in my parish church in Blackheath in London. And I remember feeling so overwhelmed at that moment when you're asked if this is really your decision to be baptised. And I was just so full of happiness. And I think I then spent the rest of my Christian discernment looking for that feeling of happiness again, that absolute joy that filled me when I said yes that first time. I was really lucky because when I was at university, I went to a church that was full of young people wondering about how they might serve God best. And lots of people were thinking about being priests. And from the way they talked about it, I decided I really wasn't. This wasn't anything to do with me, and I didn't want to do it at all. And so I was desperately looking for something else. And then during an Easter Vigil service, there's this amazing moment where the deacon stands with the candle which represents the light of Christ. And she just called the light of Christ into the church. And I felt that yes and that happiness again bursting through me. I was furious because I realized that what my yes wasn't just to the light of Christ, but to saying it and sharing it with other people. And I really reassured myself, and I thought, it's fine. I can be a deacon. You can just be a deacon. But I spent the rest of the service watching this candle go back into the sanctuary and back towards the altar. And I realized my yes was so much bigger than that. And it went right to the heart and to serving God's church as a priest. And that's a really scary thing to realize. And so I was so fortunate to have people to help me discern what that meant in practice. This has been a year of unbelievable change. My husband and I got married last year, and we're both preparing now to move to Brighton to start my curacy. And then 12 months after that, my husband will also start a curacy somewhere in Chichester Diocese. And we're so looking forward to coming back and being a part of God's church here in Chichester. Everyone has a baptismal vocation. That's what it means to be a Christian. But if anyone out there thinks that God is calling them to serve in their church, the most important thing they can do is talk to their priest. My vocation wouldn't be where it was today without the priests and people I've shared my discernment with. It's been so important to ask that question of how I can serve in the church and how I can say yes to God's call. And there are so many people out there keen to help you say yes, particularly in Chichester Diocese. And here's a prayer that we may see vocations increase in the church and the diocese. Loving and generous God, it is you who call us by name and ask us to follow you. Help us to grow in the love and service of our church as we experience it today. Give us the energy and courage of your Spirit to shape its future. Grant us faith-filled leaders who will embrace Christ's mission of love and justice. Amen.